This morning, smart cities were an important topic. This paper session, named Smart City Tech, intends to give more specific insights to this topic. The fourth presentation will cover, as written on the agenda, the notion of smart tourism and multi-environment, multi-device prototype solutions. That's the first topic. Second topic, the need for smart cities to build a strong relationship between the contemporary reality and the historical heritage. That's not the title, but it's the intent of the presentation. The third presentation will be about how can technical devices like sensors be ingeniously included in smart innovations. And the fourth and last presentation will be about how can one help to facilitate cooperation between administrative, cultural, and commercial people. Let's begin asking Gianpaolo D'Amico for his presentation. Gianpaolo D'Amico is postdoc researcher at the Media Integration and Communication Center of the University of Firenze.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, I'm Gianpaolo D'Amico and I work for the University of Florence, and I will present this project which is called the Multi-Environment and Device Framework for Tourist Experience Smart Cities. This project is called My Firenze. These are frameworks for proposing an augmentation of the travel experience of people in smart cities. This project was sponsored by the municipality of Florence in partnership with the University of Firenze. I'll show you a video. In this video you can see the Tourism Information Center of Florence, which is very close to the railway station of Santa Maria Novella. It is a center in which tourists come to have information in order to start their trip in Florence. As you can see, it's a very crowded place. That you see, if you stay on the street like me yesterday, just shooting this video, you can see that many people walk down the street, just going from the station to the center of information and so on. This station is one of the first places in which a tourist in Florence starts their itinerary. So for us the challenge was this, was to offer to a tourist a travel guide, a service in a formal travel guide that he can use for discovering new places all over Firenze, and also to understand where is the location of these places in order to reach for them in a quick way. Another challenge for us was to provide a customization of this experience. That's to say, the tourist can personalize, can customize his or her trip according to their interest. Anyway, another thing which was very relevant for us was to use the advanced smart technologies of Florence. So for this, we proposed a framework which provides a service based on multi-environment and multi-device experience. We created two different experiences for the tourists here in Florence. One is inside the tourist information office, when the tourist can discover new places, discover the points of interest that he wants to leave, and just doing this, just interacting with some natural interaction systems. The second part of this experience is outdoor, that's to say, where the tourist is all around the streets of Florence, and he can just take this itinerary that he created in the tourism or information and can update this just using the smartphone. The architecture of this system is here. You can see. So the first stage of this experience is this, that inside the tourism information office, people can interact with these devices that I will show you later. With these devices, they can decide what are the places to visit all over the town. So they can create a profile of interest of this, and after they can save this profile of interest in their smartphone. So after, in the second stage of this experience, they go all around the city in the streets, and just using their smartphone, they can see again their itinerary, and after they can customize and receive any recommendation and suggestions about other places to see just based on many information systems. The application server platform is the one that stays in the middle, is the one that just manages and controls all the data that are exchanged between the tourism information office and the smartphones of people. So first, in the tourism, in the office of tourism, you can find for first the first device. So in the first environment, you see something like this, which is a tabletop. It's an interactive table in which people can inspect many images related to the history of Florence. So in this way, they can know more all the information they are potentially interested to visit in the town of Florence. This is a multi-touch technology, so many people can interact together with this tabletop, and all the assets they can inspect in this platform, in this display, can be made in a collaboration, that to say many people can interact at the same time. All the images that you can see here are displayed in a high resolution, so people can see the details of all these multimedia assets, and at the end they have an annotation tool, that to say a tool in which they can sketch and highlight some pieces of this information. After, in the second part of this environment, inside the tourism office information, we have an interactive wall, a very big, as you can see, is a 55 inches display. So people, in this way, they can create the itinerary. So after having the experience with the tabletop in which they know what are the things they are more interested in, after they can create their itinerary, because they see a map in which to which they can interact, and they can decide what is the most relevant point of interest to visit. This application is integrated with Google Maps, so we have updated information in real time about places and about the localization of these places, and also we use QR technology for exchanging data between the wall and the mobile. The last device and the second environment that we propose for our framework is a mobile application. This mobile application is not a native application, but is a web application. In this way, we offer people an environment in which they don't have to install anything. That's to say, this kind of application works with each smartphone. Here, just having the itinerary that you created with the interactive wall, you can see this itinerary, visit the town, and in each moment you can update your itinerary. We have inside this application a recommendation system. That's to say, just moving into information, you receive recommendations and suggestions about other places to visit that are based on the interaction of other people in the platform or based on your position in the space. And at the end, also here we have a Google Maps integration. Content is king. That's to say, all the information that, all the data that people can see, can view, and can select for creating their itinerary are created by the staff of the municipality of Florence. They have a desktop application in which they, in an independent way, they can update all the information. So they can see, they can insert, update, or delete all the points of interest of the town, just inserting images and other multimedia assets in order to enhance the information and provide a new experience to people. I show you now a video in which I explain all the experience. As you can see, this is the touring office. I move in the tabletop. So from here, I see information divided in different groups related to the history of Florence. And here, I interact with these images. So I can select one image for these groups of information. I can inspect these images. As you can see, I can zoom a lot this kind of images because they are in high quality. And after, I can make annotation in order to highlight pieces of content. After, I can move, and I can go to the other device, which is the interactive wall. And here, after having understood what is important for me, I can decide to create my itinerary. So I can see Palazzo Medici Riccardi. I have a look to the most important image of Palazzo Medici Riccardi. I read the text, and after, I decide to add. That's to say, I add this to my trip. In this way, I have a counter that is showing me how much of my itinerary will be inside the day of my visit. In this way, after I can touch on a part of the interactive wall, I have a QR code, and so I can scan the QR code. Scanning the QR code with a simple QR reader, I save all my data, all my itinerary in my application. In this way, I can see the itinerary data I created, I can move all around the Florence city, and I can decide what is the most important point of interest that I want to visit. And after, I can also have recommendation on this, suggestions on other places, and I also can change my itinerary if I am interested in other things that are all around me or that are suggested by the system. Conclusion of this work, and this framework is currently in a testing stage in the office of the tourism here in Florence, and it will be public. It will be launched, I guess, in 2 months, maybe in April. Anyway, this project is part of a bigger project, which is the Social Museum and Smart Tourism project, which is funded under the cluster program of MIUR. And nothing is, I hope to invite you in these places when we will open. And I want to thank you, Nicola Torpei, who was the developer for the tabletop application, and Simone Tani and Maura Fallani, who is the staff from the municipality of Florence that supported us in this project. Thank you very much.
Does anybody have questions on this presentation? Yeah?
Hi. So firstly, I really like the interaction between the map and tabletop and be able to send stuff to your phone. I guess my biggest concerns are, and have you thought about this, the Wi-Fi doesn't work in the city, so any tourist that's coming from outside of Italy will not be able to use the app, won't be able to use the system.
Okay.
So how do you plan to kind of
No.
that?
Inside the app, we have an offline mode. That's to say, when you trigger your application, this application saves all the data. The first triggering, the first opening of your itinerary for the first time, it will download all the information. So if you open again the application when you don't have a Wi-Fi, when you don't have connection, anyway you can see the contents. Because the contents, every time, they are not only, each time you open the application, you receive the new data. If you don't have a connection, anyway, the whole data are recorded inside the application. So anyway, we have a sort of no Wi-Fi mode, offline mode.
Including offline maps? Including offline mapping?
No, the maps, no. Okay, you can have information about the itinerary. That's to say, you can see the itinerary, you can see the list of all the places that you decide day by day, and also you can see the details. So to say the description of all the point of interest and the details. Anyway, the Google Maps is gone. Yes.
Yeah, you should check out
Yes,
OpenStreetMap.
Yeah.
You should check out OpenStreetMap and the stuff
No.
from Mapbox.
Yes, we can see this. Thank you.
Yes, I was a little bit also worried about the Wi-Fi, actually because of roaming charges and everything, if you're a foreigner like me. But what I was thinking is, do you have any intention of having the tabletop part and wall part accessible on on the internet, because, for instance, you might want to plan this ahead. If you're planning your visit and you're flying into to Florence, it might be useful if you could have at least an idea of what you want to do.
Yes, this could be a following stage. The part on the wall is ready for this. That's to say that the technology that we use for this is ready for turning in a very easy way to a desktop web application. For the part of the tabletop, it's a little bit different because it's based on multi-touch technology. But anyway, I guess that it's a little bit more work, but anyway, we're ready for this. It could be one of our ideas for making an extension of this. Thank you.
Do you keep visitor data?
Sorry.
Do you
Encrypt?
no? Do you store the data of the visitors that download a route?
Yes. We store the wall. The walling application is connected to the application server, and so every time we have an action from people, this is stored, is saved in a database. So all the action of people are, during interacting with the wall, are saved in a database, in a remote database.
And also their names and addresses?
No, not the names. This is anonymous. Yes, you
It's
don't
anonymous.
have to use them. Yes, you
So
don't
you-
have to insert. Everybody can use this. That you say just interacting. It's only the action of people that are saved. The touching, gestures, and so on that are
Okay.
saved. Not the names, also because, for example, the QR code can be used by many people at the same time. So, for example, I am a touristic guide. I created the itinerary, and all the tourists are looking at me, and after they can scan all together in order to have the same itinerary. After, when they move all over the town, they can change the itinerary. So they can start from a prototype, let's say a template of an itinerary, and after they can update according to their interest or other things.
Yeah, I'm interested because it would be, I think it may be interesting to send these people an email, for instance, and ask them about their experiences with what you have done.
Yes, I guess there may be one idea could be, for example, to make some sort of surveys in the tourist office. It could be nice to make a sort of usability tests and so on. Also, more on the side of the user experience.
And to see what countries they come from.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
No more questions? I would like to add just something which is very important in your presentation, is the fact that you connect all together multi-touch table and a touch wall, and we may think of kiosk and any kind of multimedia installation, and you connect all of them with mobile application, and this is something which is quite new and which is a kind of an example that may be followed by museum, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I think there is another question. Meanwhile.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I was thinking about this application of interesting points of Florence gives even historical informations or only the direction?
No, you have many layers of information. That's to say, in the interactive wall, you see images, text, in which the text are information about the history, about many things, about the buildings of the places. And after, in the mobile application, you see more. That's to say, in the mobile application, when you go to the point of interest, you see other kind of description, and, for example, a collection of images. That's to say, we try to optimize the experience device by device, environment by environment. That's to say, with a very big screen like that one, it's not that easy to interact for many minutes. But with the mobile, you interact for more time. So you read more on the mobile than on this kind of place that is the one only to decide where you want to go. Because it's very big and you can see, you can have an overview of all the location on a map.
Yeah.
Anyway, the information device by device is different. Is optimized according to the experience of people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And